Welcome to another ADD's Action Figure Obsession video. We have here the 2024 Hasbro Marvel Legends Zabu Build-A-Figure Wave Cable, also known as the Marvel vs. Capcom Cable because of it's similar to the look that he had in that game. I think of him as the Jose Ladron Cable because he reminds me of oh, there's a truck going by, if you could hear that. That is the uniform, I believe, that he was wearing during the Joe Kelly and Jose Ladron run of the Cable comic book in the late 90s. One of my all time favorite comic book runs. Ladron was channeling both Mobius and Jack Kirby in his art style, which just made for an absolutely stunning version of Nathan Summers, the man called Cable. He's from the future. I don't know if you know that. I am a sucker for three things in science fiction or genre fiction. I am a sucker for metal arms, like Deathlock and the Winter Soldier and Cable here. Cybernetic arms, robot arms, techno-organic virus arms in the case of Cable here. And I've got the mood lighting on, but I'm gonna turn on the other light now so you can get a better look at him. I'm a sucker for cybernetic slash robot slash metal slash techno organic arms, and Cable here has that in spades. Absolutely love that look. I love the storytelling that a character having a metallic arm, a metal arm, a robot arm. There's just instant storytelling, and hey, how'd that happen? So yeah, Winter Soldier, Deathlock. I was talking about this at work one day a few years ago, and somebody said, "Well, what about Forge?" And I said, "Fuck Forge. Forge has a fucking metal leg. Who gives a shit about Forge?" I don't usually swear on this channel, but I wanted to give you the legitimate reportage of what my response to the question, "What about Forge?" was. Because Forge has a metal leg, he's not invited into the clubhouse. Anyway, I really didn't like Rob Liefeld's artwork in the 90s. I kind of see the art brute appeal of it now. Although really he still can't draw his way out of a paper bag. My hot take on Liefeld and Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee is that none of them really can draw. I mean, Jim Lee would probably be really good at drawing blueprints for, engineers or something. But all three of them would have made really interesting inkers. None of them really have the drawing chops to be like a timeless classic comic book artist like a Jack Kirby or a Steve Ditko or Gil Kane or Walt Simonson or Howard Chaykin. And I could go on and on and on. And believe me, if you were here and we had a couple of adult beverages, I probably would. But anyway, so here's Cable. I do love how he looks in that mood lighting, though, boy. There he is. Been a fan of Cable, even when I didn't like Rob Liefeld's artwork at all and didn't, appreciate it for the kind of crap that it is, kind of entertaining crap that it is. Always been a fan of the look of Cable, though. It took me a little bit longer to come around on Deadpool. I think it was the movie that won me over, not actually any of the comic books. I can't think of a Deadpool comic book that I've ever really enjoyed reading. And here he has his soldier hat on because, he wants Nathan to respect him more. Never really was a Deadpool fan, and I am now. I like the movies a lot. I like the action figures a lot. I still don't really care about them in comics. I'm sorry if this is sacrilegious, but I always did like Cable because he captures, and I'm coming back around to where I thought I started here. The three things that I really enjoy in genre fiction are guys with metal arms, time travelers, and evil twins slash clones. And if you know anything about Cable, he's all three of those because he has a metal arm, he travels in time, and he has an evil clone named Strife, who I am. Strife is kind of deep in my display right now, so I'm not going to go over there and knock everything over to show you Strife. But I did recently acquire the Strife from the Amazon 5-pack. In fact, I think I did a video about it. I only got 3 of the figures from the 5-pack. Somebody had traded them in at a local vintage toy store, so I picked up Zero and Vertigo and Strife. And really, the only reason that I got Strife was because he's Cable's evil twin. So here we have the Zabu Build-A-Figure Wave Cable. And, you know, I used to be really good at this, but I can't even remember which Build-A-Figure Wave that cable came in. Maybe Wendigo? Or not Wendigo, Sasquatch? Could have been Sasquatch. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. But these are my two Marvel Legends comic book cables that I have in my collection at the moment. I did used to have the Amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech one. I sold that off in a moment of penury, and I greatly regret that because that is just a beautiful figure, although the pieces do tend to fall off of it pretty easily. Especially one of I believe his robot arm, I think, is the one that falls off super easy, barely an inconvenience. But I do love Cable. I love the body of the older one here a little bit better than I do this one, just because these Hercules legs are really short and thin for the top part of him, and there's a huge gap in the diaper area, so you can see, way too much of his innards there. Um, but I try to ignore that. You get him into a good pose, and he's a great looking figure. The head sculpt really, and I don't know who is responsible for the head sculpt. I do always try to give credit where credit is due for good sculpting, but the head sculpt on this Cable figure is absolutely astounding. Now, the head sculpt on the other Cable is not my favorite, but I will say that it definitely represents well the Rob Liefeld style from the late '90s. There's no question that's Rob Liefeld Cable. In my mind, there's no question that this guy is Jose Ladron Cable. I like having them both in my collection, although I had sold this one off a few years ago, but I reacquired him at a local bookstore that also carries some vintage toys, and he was missing all of his accessories. He did not have this gun. This gun actually came from this Cable, because I think it's actually the original gun that he came with, just in a different color than the one that came with this guy. But it fits in the holster, and I think that's the gun that he came with. And I think it's also it's sort of a double-barreled shotgun pistol thing. It also came with, I think there were two of them with the most recent Crossbones figure. And they did just announce a new Crossbones that's coming out. So maybe that one will get cheaper, and maybe I can get that one again, because I do also miss that Crossbones figure. But what I really wanted to talk about was gearing up your cables, because they don't always come with really, really good weapons. Now, this one, I think, yeah, there's a peg on the back here. Can you see that peg? That peg is for the BFG that he came with originally. If you know what BFG stands for, it's a big freaking gun. I'm going to try to stop swearing so I don't get, lightning strikes on my house. But yeah, he came with a BFG. But when I reacquired this, the one on the left here, the earlier Liefeld style Cable, he didn't have any accessories, so I outfitted him with this pistol from the newer Cable, which I believe is a repaint of the one that he originally came with. It fits perfectly in that little slot on his side there, the sort of faux holster. Whoa. Faux holster is not as easy a thing to say as you would think. And this is the sort of laser rifle that came with the Mezco Destro. I got a pretty good deal on, I think I paid full price for my first Mezco Destro, and then they were on sale for like $50, so I bought a second one just for basically for the accessories, and also because it's one of the best Mezco figures ever. I don't know why that Mezco Destro was such a failure, but that's neither here nor there. So I think this is a really good piece of equipment to gear up your Cable with. The Destro Mezco, another thing that's not easy to say, especially his feet are really giving me trouble here. They really want to fall over, or he really wants to fall over. So let me arch his back a little here. Maybe that'll help. The rifle here, this Mezco Destro rifle, is really nice. Very futuristic looking. Probably not quite big enough for Cable, but it does in a pinch. And just speaking in scale, If you're 6 inches and Cable is 7 inches and he comes at you with that weapon, he's probably going to do some damage, right? And then we have the Zabu Build-A-Figure Wave Cable, which has been on my mind a lot for the last 24 hours because I always regret it. I had originally bought two, but then I sold one off. I have real problems with executive function, you know. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I shouldn't have got two of those. What do I need two for? I actually went through a point with this cable where I said, why do I need two of these? Well, you need two of them. I need two of them. So I was at a toy show yesterday, and they had Cable for a good price. I think he was $40. And so you can see he comes with this gun, which is in the holster of the older Cable, and he also has this weird looking sort of, almost looks like a old Western revolver, but in steampunk form. So I got him again, and I'm going to do some kit bashing with one of these guys. I don't know which one yet. Sometimes I just know that I want to do a kit bash, but I don't have, inspiration hasn't quite struck yet. So just speaking in terms of gearing up this Cable, what I gave him instead of those two really kind of uninspired pistols, and he stands up marginally better, so that's nice. What I gave this Cable is the rifle that came with the Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure from the X-Men series in Marvel Legends. I don't know if you remember that one. I think it came with Maggot, the purple guy with the two giant maggots that crawl all over his body. Not creepy at all. But when Maggot was at Ollie's for $9.99, I picked up a second one just to have another one of these rifles on hand. Because to me, Bonebreaker doesn't look right without that rifle, but I really, really wanted one for Cable. The Deadpool 2 Cable, if you want to call it the MCU Cable, that Marvel Legends put out, I think in 2020. I remember wearing a mask and being scared to death, running around Walmart looking for that and being successful in finding it without catching COVID. I remember that vividly, so I'm pretty sure it was 2020. But that rifle that came with that MCU Deadpool 2 Cable, it's very intricate and I guess it's big for that Cable size, but that Cable is like a true 1/12 scale because it's an MCU figure. So if it tops 6 inches, I'd be surprised. It might even be under. It's very small for its size. I don't know if Josh Brolin is a tiny guy or why they felt the need to go so small with the Marvel Legends Cable. Although I think sometimes they just do it to save money on the plastic. For example, I got this Warbird yesterday at the toy show as well, and was very excited about that because she's on a body, it's very similar to the 60 Years Beyond Earth's Mightiest series, Black Widow, so it's got a lot of really good articulation. But I watched some reviews, and apparently she's really tiny too. So, and she kind of even looks it in the box, right? I need this Warbird in my Avengers display, and I've been looking for it for a long time. Yesterday at the toy show was the first time that I had ever seen one anywhere. I never saw it in Target. I think it was a Target exclusive. But yeah, so the similarity between the Deadpool 2 Cable and that Carol Danvers is that they're both undersized for really what they should be. But anyway, so Cable here has the rifle from the Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure, and I think that it suits him really, really well. It's a nice looking piece. It's got a little bit of dry brushing on it in spots to, let's see, camera doesn't want to focus on it. Not sure why. It's got a little bit of dry brushing in some spots to give it a little bit of character. And it's the nice sort of sweet spot between realistic looking and BFG, ridiculously oversized weapons. So I like that. The other thing that I gave Cable, and this cost about the same as the figure did when it first came out, was this. In his left hand, you see the scimitar from the Mezco Cable. And yes, I had not one but both of the Mezco cables at one point and sold those off as well. As you can see, I have nothing but regrets. But anyway, The scimitar is a weapon from the Joe Kelly and or is it Joe Casey? Joe Casey and Jose Ladron run on the Cable comic book from the 90s. It is a like a cybernetic telekinetic spear that he can store inside of his arm that's infected with the techno-organic virus, and it's a very, very cool looking piece of equipment. It is as sharp as a tack. It really is. You could really hurt yourself with that. You can't shave yourself with it, but you could definitely poke a hole in your finger. It's got some nice paint along the edge or the along the shaft of it. There's like the blue spots, and the gunmetal gray I think is probably the base color. I'm not sure if there's a wash on that gray or not. It looks like there might be. There's definitely a wash on the blue parts, and I think they're painted and then the wash is applied, and it kind of looks like maybe something out of Star Wars. But it's a great weapon for Cable, and I really dig how it looks. And I knew the day that I got this Cable, I knew that I had to reacquire at least. I wasn't going to reacquire the Mezco Cable because I actually think that I like the look of this one better than either one of the cables that Mezco put out. But I do really, really dig. Nobody wants to stand up straight today. I do really dig how the scimitar looks in his hand, and honestly, I mean, it's a fearsome weapon in real life. You know, if there was a bug crawling across the desk here, I could definitely take him out with the tip of that spear. In real life, you know, in the world of 6 foot people, that could really do some serious damage, and it just looks threatening. And it looks great on Cable. I think the combination of the Bonebreaker BFG and the scimitar are probably the ideal accessories to go with your Cable. So the BFG, I don't know how much Maggot is going for now on eBay, but he was $10 at Ollie's and hung around for probably a year or more. So that probably brought Maggot down a little bit. And it's a good looking figure if you're interested in Maggot or like that period of X-Men comics, so it would be worth getting for the figure alone, especially if you can get it for, you know, 10 or 15 or $20 at the most. But for the rifle alone, for the BFG to give it to your Cable, to me that's worth easily $20 because it just looks great in his hand. It looks like a gun that belongs in Nathan Summers' hand, and I really like how it looks. The scimitar was, I believe, $20 on eBay. It's PSIMITAR if you want to search for it. I think I paid $20, maybe $25 for it with shipping. So, you know, to really jazz up this Cable, you can't make his legs bigger and get rid of the Hercules legs, those awful Hercules legs with the gappy hips. But you can, you know, put him into a pose that will make those, you know, irrelevant and invisible. But to pay another $20 or $30 to get that rifle and to get that scimitar to really jazz up your Cable and make him look good, I'm still figuring out this staging in my photo area here. Trying to keep the guys that are supposed to be off screen, but you can still see Sabretooth's shadow there on the right, I see. Ah, well, we're almost done here. So that's my advice to you if you want to gear up your Cable with better accessories than he came with. The accessories that he comes with straight out of the box. Well, I knew he was going to fall down. All right. Stay put. The accessories that this Cable comes with out of the box are not terrible. These two guns, they are definitely futuristic looking. They fit in his hands. He doesn't have any storage for them, unlike the other Cable that is behind him now. I mean, that one at least has a little loop in his belt for this gun here. But I think even spending $30 or $35 on these accessories, if you can get them secondhand, on eBay or Mercari or wherever you get your secondhand accessories, this rifle and this scimitar, and again, it's PSIMITAR if you want to go looking for it, Cable scimitar, you should be able to find one on eBay or Mercari or wherever. Just really make him look like the character from the comics and add some gravitas to his look on the shelf, and this is how I'm going to have him displayed from now on. And Cable is absolutely probably a top 5 all-time Marvel legend for me. That suggests a video that needs to be done, right? even with his stumpy legs, I still think he's a great looking character, and he evokes so much nostalgia for me for the Joe Casey and Jose Ladron comic books, which I can't recommend enough that you track down that run. It was just fantastic and beautiful to look at. Just you could weep at how beautiful those pages were. Um, but anyway, yeah, that's what I did with my Cable. And the other thing that goes really well with him, if you can get one of those Mezco Destros cheap, the rifle from Destro would go with either one of these Cables really nicely. It's a nice, I mean, it's all black basically. It's got some silver rivets, but you could do some dry brushing or painting to kind of liven it up a little bit. And of course, you know, for your Deadpool, if you've got him hanging out with Cable, you got to give him a Sergeant Slaughter campaign hat so that Cable understands that he's really a soldier too. He's not just a merc with a mouth. So that's going to do it for this ADD Toy Obsession video. I appreciate you tuning in. And if you stayed to the end, thank you. Please do feel free to leave a like. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. And please tell your friends, share the video, and I will catch you on the next one.